Good evening and welcome to the Millis Public Schools School Committee meeting on June 30th, 2022. This can be viewed on YouTube. First, I'd like to start with the roll call. My name is Stephen Catalano. I am the chairperson. Denise Gibbons, the secretary.
Here.
Is here. Robin Briggs is not here tonight. Mark Conroy.
Here.
Miss Roach, Carrie Roach, possibly could be joining. She's not here yet. The superintendent, Mr. Mullaney, is here, and Mr. Wiggin, the director of school finance and human resources, is here as well. Dave, is anyone signed in for open session or Bob? No one is here for open session. We do have several action items. First thing is the consideration to approve the June 21st school committee meeting minutes.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Conroy,
I make a motion to approve the June 21st school committee meeting minutes.
do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries. We'll have to give Denise a little bit of time for the delay, but motion carries. Consideration to approve the Clyde F. Brown, the Millis Middle School, and the Middle High School handbooks. Mr. Mullaney, could you help us with this?
Sure. In the packet, we have memos from each of the principals on their student handbooks, and the changes are largely language and updating, particularly with Clyde Brown going into the new building. They've updated some language on when students can actually be in the building and some of the drop-off procedures. There's nothing really substantive there. The middle school, really no substantive changes. The high school, same thing, just kind of defining the flex block and updating some times due to the new schedule that that's been instituted in the last couple of years. And then updating some dress code language in light of current legal standards and best practices.
So, Mr. Mullaney, I reviewed these and I believe, I don't know if we said this in open session or in an email. Can we ask I'm prepared to move forward with these tonight, but could we send the references to the clothing changes to our lawyers?
Yes,
so they can review
done.
at some. Okay,
he has a copy of that, and he'll be getting back to me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I anticipate that there will probably be no changes. We can always, if he comes back or she comes back and says something, we can always reopen it. But I think we should move forward with the handbooks tonight. Before I ask for a motion, does anyone else have any questions or concerns about the proposed changes?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
I would take a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Conroy,
I make a motion that we approve the Clyde Brown Middle School and High School yearbook or handbook changes as presented.
can I get a second?
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Just for clarification, there was no motion to approve changes to the middle school because there were no changes requested. So all of the relevant handbooks are going to be revised that need to be revised. So motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
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 The delay's getting better to this. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Wiggin, would you like to do the food service contract or the recast budget? It's your call. Both of them are
Well,
yours.
why don't we go in order? So we'll start with the food service budget.
Okay.
Basically, I described in a memo to you all the process where in May we released a request for proposal to have a food service management company run our food service program. We have to do that every 5 years, regardless of whether we're happy with our current company or not. It was advertised publicly, not only locally in a paper, but also through state websites. It was advertised and available on our website. And I actually took the additional step at the MASBO annual conference of personally inviting 3 vendors who were there to respond to this, including our current vendor who was there. We did have 5 proposals requested. 1 company withdrew from consideration. 3 attended our mandatory walkthrough 2 weeks ago on June 15th. And at 2:00 today, we had 1 response, Chartwells, which is the current company that has served Millis Public Schools, I think, for 13 years, if my memory serves me correct. I know it's been a while. I have attached stuff. You guys have seen the financials. I think in the first year, they're estimating approximately $47,000 of profit. And that is based on no waiver. And that is based on a food count pre-pandemic. So we went back a few years to try and get something that we thought was realistic for companies to work with. I would note that if the Senate bill that's right now kind of languishing to provide a waiver that the state funds for another year passes, that would add another $90,000 approximately to the bottom line that we would see. Again, we're very happy with the company. We're very happy with the situation we have where we share a director of dining services with Medway. It works good for both districts. If, for example, Medway is out of something, we happen to have a backstop of it, we can help them out. They have helped us out in the past. So it's a really good working relationship we have with Medway on this. And I would recommend approval of a successor contract. And the way it works is we would have a 1-year contract with the right of renewal at our option for 4 additional years on 1-year increments. We have to do this every year.
Mr. Wigan, a couple questions. One, that does, and I think you have told this in the past, I apologize if you have. Does Medway use Chartwells as well?
Yes.
Okay, so we're using both the same company, and okay, so there's no issue there.
And actually, I will be honest with you, Don and I kind of messed up. If we had both thought about it, we'd have put out the bid at the same time. We didn't really think about it.
Okay.
But it works out.
And on the profit, and you're obviously in the busy, one of the busiest weeks of the year for you, the end of the fiscal year. And I know that we had talked over the summer about getting some updates on some of these revolving accounts. And I would say choice is number 1. Transportation would be number 2, and I think food service. So just quickly, and I think you mentioned this last meeting, what does that $47,000 in profit help us with?
Well, I guess it does a couple of things. You always want to maintain at least 3 months of operating funds. And that's not just operating funds for paying your staff, but that's also for inventory, for just all the things that can happen with a food service program. We've finally, after several years, been able to achieve that. Of course, the waiver helped us do that. It not only helps us maintain that, but now it goes beyond and allows us to have some funds that we can start looking at some investment. So we, of course, through the goodwill of the town, they have invested in a new walk-in freezer refrigerator. They've invested in a new steam kettle system. There are other appliances, for example, in the current kitchen that are old and quite honestly should be replaced. The money will help us update those pieces of equipment, and that's a good thing.
Good. So I know you know this, and we've talked about this in the past, going back years and years. Sometimes when we would see a profit in one group, we would take money from that to fill in a budget gap. there's enough capital needs within that kitchen and facility that we should not be doing that. And I know that's not your plan, but I feel obligated to at least say that.
No, but you do raise another issue, which I failed to mention, and I apologize. One of the things that we had to stop doing for a couple of years anyways, certainly during the pandemic, is we used to charge off, and very legitimately, part of a custodian at the Mill
Right.
High School and part of a custodian at the Clyde Brown School, because they spend a good portion of their day
Sure.
dealing with the cafeteria. We're able to do that again. And of course, this $47,000 profit, allows us to keep the fund rolling and being able to do that.
But that seems reasonable and that seems targeted and specific, and I don't have,
Right.
that's not what I was talking about, something outside. We're
Yeah,
not gonna take money from this and put it into athletics or
No,
put it into a bus, so, all right.
no.
Any other questions or concerns from Mark or Denise? I would take a
None for me.
motion. Oh, go ahead, Denise, I'm sorry.
No, I said none, but I'll give
Okay.
you a motion,
Yes, please.
Mr. Chair.
Ms.
I make a
Gibbons.
motion to authorize the Director of Finance to enter into the successor contract with Chartwells for food services for the school year of 22-23.
Second.
Well, okay, a motion's been moved and
What
seconded.
else do we need?
I
what else
will
do we need on the
amend,
motion?
I'm gonna amend the motion with options to renew annually for up to 4 more years at the district's option. So I don't know if you have to second,
Yeah. I'll
Mark, second my amendment, please.
Second.
Okay. A motion's been moved and seconded. An amendment has been moved and seconded. And I'd like to take a vote on the amended motion. All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries. Terry, this is a contract. It's September, it's June 30th. Did we give you exactly what you need? I don't want to have to
Yes.
call into an emergency session on
No,
July 4th.
We'll be able to move forward. Again, one of the advantages, of course, is that Chartwells has been doing this for 13 years. So without a change, this is just going to be to continue to do business as usual. So
Okay.
that'll make it easier as well.
Okay. Thank you, Terry.
I'd just like to thank the manager of the cafeteria.
Absolutely.
Sean Fallon. He's very responsive. He knows every kid in the schools by name. And he just provides outstanding service for our kids.
Excellent. Good to hear. And he's a very nice person. We've seen him in some negotiations when he feeds us with good food. Okay. The next action item is the consideration to approve the FY23 recast budget. Mr. Wigan.
Correct. And I believe that I know that I sent you the recast budget. And I believe we have a memo on that
Yes.
where I'm trying to pull it up right now real quick. So the budget is, with all the additions that were put into it, is going to be 18,582,770. And one of the reasons it went up above the 4%, as you know, is it incorporates the computer lease, it incorporates the bus lease, it incorporates $130,000 for us to begin implementing, taking over the custodial work for the town, or at least most of the town buildings. It incorporates some marijuana impact fees to assist in funding certain positions and to install vaping detectors at the middle high school. And it incorporates any known staff changes or any known settlements that we had, principally the Unit A bargaining group, which we had settled with, and that's the teachers, of course. So it balances with the number that the Finance Committee had in its report on town meeting. I've run it by the town accountant. I have not heard any feedback other than it balances with her numbers. So these would be the line items that we would at least start the fiscal year 23 season with.
Okay, that is helpful. So we do have to take a motion and take a vote on the recast operating budget. So at this time, unless there's any questions, I would take a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Conroy,
I'd make a motion that we approve the fiscal 23 recast budget as presented.
Second.
a motion's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, so those are our action items. We don't have time and learning. Tonight is a one-off meeting to in fact, we've taken care of a lot of business, but the main purpose for the meeting was to approve the dining services contract. So for the chair report, we have MSBA project. We talked a little bit about this last week. Ms. Gibbons is the point for the committee, but I don't think anything has changed other than we're in the process of arranging a meeting with the MSBA, with the project manager to kind of talk about next steps and some of the I don't want to say minor milestones, but we're not close to any major. We have to start pulling together some compliance documents. We have to take some votes. There's a document that I have to sign, I believe, or Denise can sign. Actually, I think I have to sign as the chair. But yeah, we're going through some of the summer work, and the real work is started. But this is just kind of getting the paperwork and kind of administrative things set up, including this looking at creating a school building committee, and then really start running up until a vote that will happen, a town meeting vote, most likely a special town meeting sometime in March of 2023. Ms. Gibbons, did I cover it all, or does that seem right?
It does. The only adjustment I would make is not sure if we'll need a special town meeting, or we might even be able to do it in the November.
Oh.
Yeah, in the November. In November.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's part of the discussion. You're right. I apologize. That's part of the discussion, is to kind of map out, and we'll be doing that over the course of the summer, to map out a schedule and try to figure out deliverables and timeframes. Yeah, that's correct.
Exactly.
Thank you for the correction. So that's that. We don't have any action yet on the superintendent evaluation. We'll work on that this summer, and we will make sure we get that done and sent. Actually, I believe it has to be sent to the state tomorrow. We're asking for an extension on our meeting that no one's watching, so we will work on that and make sure that we're in compliance with the evaluation of the superintendent. So the next piece is on the chair report is the SPED review. I'm going to put that on hold now in the open session. We do have an executive session tonight, so I'm going to move to executive session for contract negotiations for union and non-union personnel, as well as to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health rather than professional competence of an individual, or to discuss the discipline or dismissal of, or complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. So in order to move from open session to executive session, I would need a motion from a member, and we would not be returning to open session.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Gibbons.
I make a motion to move to executive session, not to return to open session.
Second.
Okay, a motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
It's
Aye.
a roll call.
Oh, it's a
vote.
roll call vote.
Oh, yeah, right.
Ms. Gibbons,
Aye.
Mr. Conroy,
Aye.
and I am an aye. So we are going to move from open session to executive session at this time. Dave, can you explain how we